What have you noticed in this? I know you didn't play the first test, but the second test about the way Australia play, was it different to what you've seen from Australian sides in recent history?
Well, we went into that first game not knowing. I guess a lot of assumptions were being made on how they'd play, how they'd be different under Dave Rennie, and we've learnt a lot in these first two games. With Nick White out there, they like to get him running on the back of some pretty strong ball carries, so they like to play that fast footy, go forward footy. And obviously they've got some really skillful playmakers and some hard running backs. So it's a pretty well balanced game that they're playing. And I wouldn't say there are too many surprises. We experienced a rampant performance in Perth last year when everything seemed to work well for them. So I think that's the sort of game that they're aiming to play.
James O'Connor's been starting at 10 for them the last couple of tests. He's someone that's played 15 as well as someone who also plays both. What have you noticed about his style and what he's bringing to that 10 jersey?
Oh, look, I've always admired James, the way he plays the game. He's got great skill set. He can be physical. He can run. He can kick. He can do it all. So, after talking to him after the first couple of games, he's enjoying that role, and I think he's only going to improve in it too.
And just off Eden Park, getting back to rugby, Beauden, I thought, many of us watching thought it was one of your better tests. The way you were able to impact the game and have an influence, what do you take from that into, I guess, the Australian League of what's coming up in terms of, the way you're able to play in Auckland and perhaps things like that moving forward you're able to do?
Oh, look, I was just happy to be back playing, wearing the black jersey and feeling a lot better than in previous weeks with my little niggle that I've been working hard to get on top of. So, I was really clearly excited to be out there at Eden Park playing afternoon footy, a great day to run with the ball in hand and play the game that I love to play. So, what it means for footy over here, I just have to take it one day at a time to keep growing as a player, keep getting better and not get too far ahead of myself because, it is an exciting challenge we've got coming up. At the moment, the conditions over here aren't too great, so we could be faced with some wet weather footy, but we're just preparing well at the moment.
There's been a lot said across the Tasman about the impact of Dave Rennie on this Wallabies side. As you mentioned before, though, the Wallabies were very impressive in Perth last year. Just from your point of view, are the Wallabies better or worse? Have they improved or are they just different?
Look, that's a tough question. At times I've seen them put us under immense pressure, and in particular that first game in Wellington where we had a draw, but there were a lot of times in the second game at Eden Park where a couple of balls didn't stick and we were on the back foot, and they were one pass away from putting us under pressure, and even that maul try disallowed. I think they're improving, and they're a strong side under Dave Rennie. We've got a lot of respect for them and what he's doing with them. So, we can't focus too much on them either. We've got to, look after our own backyard and keep growing as this team, as All Blacks in 2020.
Does it bother you, and does it bother the team that you've given the Wallabies an opportunity to come home and win this cup by I suppose not winning those first two games at home? To what degree does that bother you, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, of course it bothers us, but we can't be too arrogant and assume that we're going to win every game at home. We do respect Australia, and we are up for the challenge that is presented this weekend. We haven't won the Bledisloe Cup on this soil for a long time, so we've got an opportunity to do that for the first time in maybe 20 or so years, and we're pretty excited about that challenge.
You touched on the Perth test from last year. Do you look into that match at all, or is it just so different in terms of the players and coaching setup now?
Look, it's important to remember how you felt in the change room or in the game during those moments, and use that as fuel, and just little reminders on when things don't go well, why did that happen, and a reality check as to maybe we didn't prepare as well as we should have. So essentially we don't want it to happen again. But each test is different. We have to prepare for this test in Sydney this weekend, and it's good to be aware of. I think that one just really showed their strengths when everything goes to plan, and when we don't front physically and emotionally.
Beauden, there's been a lot made about the 10-15 combination that you've been a part of for the last year or so. From your perspective, do you think it continues to improve? That seemed to work probably the best it's had in that game at Eden Park.
Oh, absolutely. I've only played one game this year, and I enjoyed that at fullback. Look, Richie and I, our relationship and what we do for our attack can only get better. So we're always working on that relationship and what it looks like for us. And it's something that hopefully we can improve on this week again.
What do you see as the key benefit of having two playmakers on the park?
I guess being able to attack across the entire field, always have run, pass, kick options on both sides of the ruck rather than being one-dimensional.